Vandy just outplayed them. Like Vandy was the better team. It's amazing, and Pavia is a big part of it.
Absolutely the better team. Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barber, and with me is Jeff Dover. Let's talk football.
We're a couple of average football fans that watch college and the NFL. We hope to earn your like and subscribe today. This is our review of the LSU Vandy game. What are your initial thoughts?
Diego Pavia is really good.
He is. And this is, I can't, going into this, listen, Vandy's had a good season, okay? Really good season, beat some good teams, lost to Bama. This felt like going into this game, this is the one where okay, LSU's going to put their foot down and be like, okay, it's all going to go back to normal, right? It was like LSU winning, and Vandy was even favored going into this game. And Vandy just outplayed them. Like Vandy was the better team. It's amazing. And Pavia is a big part of it.
Absolutely the better team. So, yeah. Okay, so a quick review of the scoring in this game. LSU gets off to the early start with a field goal here. Vandy answers right away with a touchdown. Then LSU answers with a touchdown, takes the lead back 10-7. Vandy answers again immediately. So this is a theme here. Vandy answers again with a 75-yard, 14-play, 9-minute touchdown. And that's it. They never give up the lead after that. Now, obviously, there's more scoring, but that's early in the second quarter. They take the lead and never give it up. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, LSU gets a field goal, and, they're chipping away, but that's it. Vandy's front running this game for the rest of the game. And it's like you said, they're just the better team. Now, okay, to be fair, LSU's missing all kinds of players. They're missing defensive. They were missing 2 or 3 of their best defensive players. But in years past, an LSU team, you would say, would be able to survive that against a Vanderbilt team. Not this Vanderbilt. You need your full complement of players to beat Vanderbilt, even at LSU, and they all have to play good. Mm-hmm. There is no, this is not your older brother's Vanderbilt. You can't beat them if your whole team's there and you make a mistake, you're not beating them. Yeah. If you're missing some key players, it's almost like you have no chance.
Yeah, no, exactly. And what Vanderbilt's done with their roster, considering where their recruiting ranking is and how deep their roster is a real masterclass in putting a team together. Because LSU won the transfer portal recruiting thing this year. They've had a top 10, top 20 recruiting classes. They've got 4 stars all over the place. And despite that, they cannot run the ball. And that is an absolute killer because Nussmeier's good and the receivers are good. But if you can't run the ball, then it's too easy for a defense to defend you. So looking at this, they ran for 100 yards, but one of them came on one 51-yard run. So that means that was 17 runs for 60 yards is what they had, as a team, which is brutal. And so it makes it too much easier to defend. Again, Nussmeier was fine. It was 19 for 28 for 225 yards and 2 TDs, but they couldn't run the ball, and it's too one-dimensional, and you're not going to win a game like that. Vandy won the time of possession 36 minutes to 23. The LSU defense must have been so gassed near the end.
They're just playing keep away.
Yeah.
And they put up 239 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
You're likely not winning a game when you get outrushed that badly.
No.
Especially like you said, half of LSU's yards were just on one carry.
Yes.
So
running.
So you're just not winning a game like that when you give up 240 on the ground and you only get 100 yourself. And it's just, it was clean, no turnovers, but Pavia is that type of guy who kind of wills his team to win.
Oh yeah.
And the only game they lost this year was against Bama, who might be the best team in the country.
Yep.
And it's because they turned the ball over. If they didn't turn it over in that game, especially Pavia, speaking of Vandy and Bama for a second, he was on his way in, I think in the second quarter, to put that game up by 2 scores. And and they punched the ball out, and he was just trying to do too much there. He was had the one hand on the ground and all that stuff. So who even knows? That seemed to swing the momentum in the Bama game. Otherwise, Vandy could have won that game too. Who knows? But that's the one game they lost because of ball security as a major factor. Here, Neither team turned the ball over, and Vandy was just too much for them. Literally just too much for them.
No, and that's a really good point about the turnovers. Sometimes the turnovers are pretty freaky. Like, you can't, if you lose the turnover battle, it was a fumble or, a tip ball interception or something like that.
Yeah.
Vandy, that was the other note that I had here. Vandy, when they don't turn the ball over, is a really hard team to beat because they can run the ball well. Pavia's not going to make many mistakes. They're really balanced running and throwing, and the defense is good. And that's just going to be a tough recipe to beat a team like that if they're not beating themselves. Because you're right, that was the only reason that was one of the main reasons why they explained the Bama outcome. So
yeah, and every time LSU scored, Vandy immediately answered and took the momentum back. So whenever it looked like, okay, LSU's talent is going to eventually catch up with Vandy, it didn't. Vandy just took it back every single time, and then there was no way for them to close the gap at the end of the game here. And part of it is because Pavia, like you said, there was no turnovers, doesn't make mistakes, makes good decisions, and he's tough as nails.
Oh, super tough.
And when he decides to pull it and run, it's like he always goes forward.
Yeah,
he rarely makes the wrong call on an option to keep it or to pitch it or run pass option to throw, whatever it is. He seems to always make the right call at the right time, where it always seems to be going forward. And it's rare for the defense to get one over on him.
Yeah, no, and just like Levitt, which we talked about in our Arizona State game. Go back and listen to that one, our Arizona State Texas Tech review, if you haven't done that already. But Levitt could take a hit to deliver a pass. Pavia is the exact same way. He can take a hit and deliver a pass. And when he runs the ball, you need to take him down because he's really tough. And that it really permeates the rest of the team because the defense looks tough. The offense looks tough, and a lot of times that comes from the quarterback, setting the tone with someone like that. So, no, and the other thing I'll say here too about the offense, which really they're making this work so well. Typically, if you have a good running back and a good tight end, that's really tough to defend because the linebacker's got to come up to stop the running back, but also cover the tight end a lot if it isn't the safety. And they're using their running game and their two tight ends really well, which is just really putting a lot of pressure on the defense to have to stop the run and stop. Like that Spence guy is just a big ticket running across the 6'7", 250, right, running around, and stole the other
Stowers.
Guy. Stowers.
He might be the best tight end in the country.
Right. And it's, and that's, and Spence looks really good too, it's like that is a great, just a bit of offense to execute that way.
And you didn't need much, 160 in the air, but when you get 239 on the ground, and I get it, about 86 of it was Pavia, but that's by design.
Yes.
Like that's the whole point. And Young had 82 and Alexander had 45. I mean, it was all over the place. Like it's not obvious. Okay. I was going to say it's not obvious who to key on. You obviously are trying to stop Pavia, but you kind of can't.
No.
So you better try to shut everything else down.
Yeah, and again, if you're a coach and you said, we're not going to turn the ball over, we're going to win the time of possession by 13 minutes, and we're going to have a very balanced run and passing attack, and it's going to average out to 400 yards, you would take that every day, every day.
How can you can't really beat that. And most coaches would look at that saying, well, yeah, that's going to win the game. That's 100% going to win. Unless you get an all-world performance on the other side, which Nussmeier was fine. There was nothing wrong with his performance. But, man, if you get held to 100 yards and 50 of it's on one carry, that's not going to work against 240 yards on the ground. So it's almost like a renaissance thing here. I know that we went through a phase when Kiffin was at Alabama. It looked like college football, and then Burrow at LSU. It looked like college football went through this phase of like, the high-powered, all-pass, all-go off, and not all pass, but just the high-powered, high-scoring offense took over college. But now it looks like there's a little bit of a renaissance in some of these teams that are like the high rush total offenses here, like Vanderbilt, and we just did the Utah BYU game, and both of those teams went for over 200 yards on the ground. And it's obviously no coach wants to do the all the high-powered offense, they want to run it. If they could, they'd much prefer run, win the time of possession like this, 13 minutes. That's a way lower stress, way more predictable, way less risky way to play football. And you'd take that every time. Oh. And Vanderbilt's personnel and however they're developing them, is it obvious that anyone in the SEC is better than them?
No, they're doing it well, and you're exactly right about it's the low stress and it's the low danger probability, right? By holding on to the ball, not turning it over. You're not asking the quarterback to do too much passing wise, and that's exactly how a coach would want to do it. And they're executing it really well at a really high level.
Now, I don't think Pavia is interchangeable. I'm trying to think of how many other guys in the league even look like this guy. There's not a lot. I listened to Nightcap with Sharp and Ocho Cinco, but when they do their college one, Johnny Manziel's on there too. And so Manziel talks to Pavia, he says, on a regular basis. He said he'll any player who wants any advice from him, he's open to talking to all of them, but I guess Pavia is talking to him quite a bit, and he reminds me of Manziel. Maybe Pavia isn't even tougher type of runner, whereas Manziel could throw. I don't know. Maybe they're about the same, but maybe Manziel's a bit better at throwing. But whatever it is, Pavia's. Obviously, it revolves around him. I don't think they're this good without him. But he's a complete difference maker at quarterback. I mean, I don't see why they couldn't win the SEC if they keep playing like this.
No, for sure. And just another comment too about going forward. Okay, so LSU. First game of the season, beat Clemson. That win doesn't look so good anymore because Clemson's just lost to SMU. They beat Louisiana Tech, Florida. Neither one of those things look very good now either. Southeast Louisiana, they lost to Ole Miss, one of the only other good teams they played. They beat South Carolina at a close one, which also doesn't look as good as it might have been now. And then they've lost to Vandy. So and they've got Texas A&M, Bama, and Oklahoma left, which I don't know. There's a chance they don't win any one of those, based on how they're playing now. So that's if they potentially could be in a 3-game stretch here of losing 3 games in a row, which would be nuts for LSU. Considering Nussmeier coming back, considering that there were really a lot of people would pick them to be in the SEC championship and or the national championship going into this season. This is quite a turnaround for this team.
And it's not obvious what type of team. I mean, okay, so you're right. The Clemson win doesn't look like anything because everybody beats Clemson, and they squeaked by them, 17-10. It was not a. The thing is, this LSU offense is limited, really limited, and this was actually one of their better offensive performances, and it just was never enough in this game. So I mean, they get Florida 20-10, but now Florida's defense is really, really good, but LSU's offense is totally lacking, and there's no run game here.
Yeah, that's sorry to interrupt, but that was the Florida game was 5 interceptions by Lagway too, right? That's the only reason why that one was that might have been not a win in that case,
Right. So to your point, I don't know how they can beat. Okay, so between A&M, Alabama, I don't know. Arkansas put up a ton of points on A&M this week too. And then Oklahoma, I could see them losing 3 of those 4. I could see them losing all 4 if they're going to show up with this bad of a run game.
Yeah.
Now, and granted, they're missing some players on defense. It could also be just the unfortunate circumstance that the most important defensive pieces they needed to hang in there with Vanderbilt obviously weren't there. And like we said, injuries can always be an excuse.
Yeah.
But you can only play in the season during the weeks of the season. You can't say, let's play Vanderbilt in the summer when everyone's healthy. You just can't. It sucks. It totally sucks because an LSU fan is going to say, well, that's not our actual team. Half of our team was sitting on the bench, or half of our team was just in sweatpants with braces on their knees. Okay, but so Vanderbilt's got missing some players too. Texas A&M next week is going to be missing a player or here. Now you might be missing your best 2 or 3, which super sucks, especially if it's right in the heart of the defense. But it's a bummer if it turns out that you had key players coming back, like Perkins is looking good, Nussmeier comes back. The point was to make this happen this year, but along the way, the other pieces you expected to be there are falling away, and other teams are maybe healthier than you are. And it's just a bummer. It's just that just might be what the season is to LSU. Because if they drop one more game, that's it. No SEC, they're already on the outside looking in because
Yes.
Vanderbilt and Ole Miss both have a tiebreak and they have 2 losses in conference. I highly doubt.
There's a lot of undefeated and one-loss teams ahead of them.
Right. I highly doubt they're making the SEC championship game at this point.
No.
And if they drop one more game, they're probably on the outside looking in for playoffs too. So for what should have been, so the beginning of this year, the big 3 teams, national teams who had great transfer portal. Well, maybe not Clemson, but LSU had the number 1 transfer portal. They had Nussmeier coming back, a front runner for the Heisman. Clemson had a front runner for the Heisman, and Penn State. The 3 teams who were the only big name teams who had a multi-year starting quarterback come back, and all 3 of them are essentially non-factors now. I mean, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself in LSU, but really, do we think this team's going to be there at the end with this schedule left?
No, you're absolutely right. This is 1 loss, maybe 2 losses away from a full Penn State situation, right? And that's what makes this so shocking is that Nussmeier could have gone to the NFL. He's a really good QB. He chose to come back. And that was on the Netflix documentary where the linebacker was like, if you come back, we could win the national championship. Like, they said it outright. And so that's what makes the Penn State fall so bad. They lost to Iowa this week, which was nuts. And if LSU loses this game, lose the next one against Bama, then it's a Penn State level collapse where they were supposed to be way better. They had the roster to be way better, and it's just to be this not good is bad. And the injuries are bad. But you know what? Say that to Oklahoma. The Mateer had surgery in his hand. They've dealt with injuries too. Say that to Texas Tech, who had Morton. Morton was in there. Hammond was in. Like, people get injured. So that's part of football. So I get it that it's not the team, like you said, that, that's not our full complement, but there's other teams that are dealing with that too. So,
yeah, I mean, this is football. I mean, you have to deal with injuries.
I think that the Texas A&M game coming up next is going to look like eerily like this Vandy game. Like, I think the LSU is not going to be able to run against Texas A&M either. Texas A&M is just going to run the ball, not ask the quarterback to do too much, which is good because when they ask him to throw it around a lot, he can get a little interception.
He can
heavy.
though, and he can run.
Yeah, I know. And so I think it's going to be just like that. I think they're going to, LSU's not going to be able to run the ball. They're not going to be able to pass enough to make a difference. And I think Texas A&M is going to win that just like this game.
All right. Well, arrows are not pointing up for LSU at all. The ground is very shaky, and the ground could give way. Let's say it that way. And then what? Kelly, get him out of town?
I mean, that's sort of the next step of the Penn State level collapse, right? Do you think they would fire him, or you think he'd just leave? I don't know. That's a good question.
But I think he just can leave. I don't know.
But I mean,
that's bad.
I think the fact that they're hosting the A&M game is the only thing that gives them sort of a bit of help because that's a tough place to play at night at Death Valley with LSU. Yeah. So, but that, I don't know, man. Texas A&M undefeated going in. They're starting to round
like we
into
said,
form.
None of LSU's wins are confidence inspiring. Let's say it that way. It doesn't look good right now. It's bad news. All right. So Vanderbilt, I mean, their only losses to Bama, who looks like the best team in the country. And along the way here, so we get South Carolina, which is doesn't look like as big of a win. And now that we were kind of going through what's going on with LSU, it's a good win, but it's maybe not as good of a win as beginning of the season you would think, taking down LSU, even with this number 10 ranking here. So next week's game against Missouri all of a sudden is an enormous SEC game because we got 2 teams with one SEC loss to the same team.
Yep.
Right? They both have only lost to Bama. Missouri just took down Auburn, and it was just a tough game. I think it's unfortunate this year. I think Auburn is just a quality loss for teams.
Yeah.
Like, Auburn should probably have 2 more wins than they do. They probably could have beaten Oklahoma if it wasn't for that BS play there. So it's just whatever. The Auburn situation is a totally different thing, but beating them is not nothing.
No.
And Missouri just took them out. So Missouri was hanging in there till the last. We were at that game. Mm-hmm. They were in there with the ball, could have tied or won that game at the end of the game against Bama. So Missouri, and that's with Missouri's passing game looking atrocious, and they still hung in there against Bama. So that team's legit. So this all of a sudden is an enormous battle, Missouri and Vanderbilt.
Well, and I think the Cover 3 guys said it good going into this game. how many times are you going to be able to say, lay the points with Vandy over LSU? Like, because that's who they picked. They picked Vandy to win, and they won that bet. And then also what's possible is that at the end of the season, Vandy at Tennessee is going to be looking to spoil Vandy's trip to either the SEC championship or the playoffs. Like, that is, you would have not thought that going into this season. Like, that is crazy that we're able to say that.
Vandy could get an at-large bid to the playoffs if they don't make the SEC championship game here. They can afford, with the strength of this schedule, they can afford one more loss.
Yep, because they'll have a lot of wins over ranked teams too.
They'll have to if they only have one more loss here.
Yep.
Well, not necessarily. Now, and after Texas's laughable performance against Kentucky, I don't think beating Texas, put it this way, in whatever it is, 2 weeks' time, when Vandy plays Texas might very well not be ranked.
Maybe. Yeah, but I mean, listen, big game against Missouri, still at Texas, at Tennessee. They still have Auburn and Kentucky too. Like, so they're anyway, it's just crazy that Vandy sort of like almost controls their own destiny going forward. They don't quite, because they don't play Texas A&M or Bama, but like, it's, I mean, what a difference. Like, this is not your brother's Vandy team, like you said.
They control their own destiny for the playoffs. They just don't control it for the SEC championship.
Correct.
Games.
Good point.
Right. What I mean, if you haven't been watching Vandy, you have to watch Vandy. This is just, it was must-watch TV last year. It's absolutely must-watch TV this year.
Hosting Missouri on ESPN, 3:30 Eastern, coming up this weekend. That's going to be a good one. Massive game.
And that's good for them. They get that one at home. And like we said, Texas on the road. I remember at the very beginning of the season, we were chalking that one up to a win for Texas. Not anymore. Oh, yeah. Absolutely not anymore.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed. That the feeling about Penn State, Clemson, and now LSU really changed since the beginning of the season.
Yep. So ground is really shaky under LSU. They're already on the outside looking in, and Vanderbilt technically controls their destiny, at least for the playoffs. And they're still in a good position for making the SEC championship game.
Yep.
All right. Did you got everything on your notes?
Yep.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being here. We know our channel's small, so if you're still with us and you'd like to support us, a like and a subscribe goes a long way to helping us grow the channel, and we'd super appreciate it. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.